Hello, my name is Jenna Faulkner, and I am a student with Dr. Kidd's ECI 301 class for the summer of 2010. As you can see, we are deep in rural America right now. This region of Southwest Virginia is known for its large fields, ample livestock, and a slower pace of life than our northern Virginia neighbors. However, this part of Southwest Virginia is also home to Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, one of the largest state universities on the East Coast and home to a devoted Hokie fan base. Traveling through campus, you can see all the resources available to tech students and also to the surrounding area. Down the road, another prestigious institution is located, Gilbert Lincas Elementary School. Gilbert Lincas is just down the street from Virginia Tech's main campus and prides itself on its record of state accreditation and extracurricular activities. In Gilbert Lincas, I also completed my student observation with kindergarten teacher, Miss Willis. Miss Willis has been in the field for over 25 years here at GLC. As you can see, she keeps her classroom impeccably clean and organized and also makes use of the resources available within the kindergarten building, including 14 computers and a smart board for kindergarten's use only.
The STAR, it's a reading test that asks them a series of questions, and if they continue to answer them correctly, it keeps going, but once they miss so many, it stops, and you can see where their reading level is. So that's how I get leveled books for them, especially accelerated reader books, and I have a basket that they get to choose from so that they have control over what they're reading, and I feel like if they have control and it's something they like, then they're going to be more apt to do it. And I always tell them, if you don't want to do the test, you don't have to. Just take the books home and read them, because I don't want to turn them against it, because once they get to first grade, they have to start doing accelerated reader. So I don't want to turn them against it. I want them to know. But usually they think it's pretty cool that they're able to do it.
Yeah.
You know, for kids that are lower, I work with them, try to work with them one-on-one. We have a PALS assessment. It's a phonological awareness screening that you've probably heard of. And if children don't make a certain score on that, we have a reading specialist who works with them. Plus, I try to pull and do one-on-one with small groups with what they need. We have action-based learning, which is a new program we started this year. And the kids come in like at early, like 15 minutes early to school, and it's a whole, I don't know as much about the program as I need to learn more, but they work with kids. It's connected with coordination, and it's been proven that if children, like if they can't do jumping jacks, or if they're not coordinating, they're going to have trouble reading. So it works a lot with their doing a lot of physical activities while they're looking at letters or looking at numbers. And so we started that, our aides at our school, because we can't do it in the morning when you've got kids coming into the classroom. So I really saw a big difference. I had 2 children going to that this year, and it was incredible the difference that it made, and what they started out with and how they ended. It's not one teacher, it's everybody in the whole school working together. A lot of times I have a lot of games, and I will place like one child that can read and sort of let them help the group, so they're learning while they're working together. I have a lot of college students that come in, and so I have them work, in small groups with them on different activities and skills, which really helps, because you've got, when you have 5 extra adults in your classroom, it makes a big difference, and parent volunteers too. Everything's so test-driven now, which I think is a shame, because I don't think a test should be able to tell a child I think the testing is very important, don't get me wrong, but it bothers me that we base so much on it. It's like SAT. Why, a child can be a great student, but not be a good test taker. And I think at Lincoln's, at our school, teachers try to do a little of both, but I tell you, that those SOLs, it is just, it's the grades that are tested, it's a lot of stress, because they've got to make those grades, the scores. And at our school, they expect them to be in the upper 90th percentile on everything.
Well, by 2014, they're supposed to have a 100%.
And I would like for Congress and the Senate to have 100%. They agree 100% on every bill they pass. Because that's not reality. You're not going to have, you can work with kids and work with kids on certain things, and some kids are just not going to get it, certain things. You have to find their style of learning. And you've got to have, it's not, a teacher can't do it all. She lays the foundation, but it's the parents have to help too. It has to be, you have to work together as a team to create the best situation for your children. And I guess I found a lot of parents are so busy with their own careers that they don't have time. Their kid goes to daycare before school and after school, and then when they get home, they're too tired and they don't deal with their children. And I just think that's sad, because you can't leave it all up to we have 7.5 hours in a day, and we have 18 to 20 kids per one teacher. You do the best you can, but you aren't a miracle worker, and you try to meet everyone's needs. I don't think anyone goes into education not wanting to make sure every child gets what they want. But some years it's harder if you have a more challenging group, or if you have children that are going through a lot of family problems at home and they bring it to school. You're not only dealing with, it's not just, at school you're not just the teacher, but you're also the mom, the dad, the counselor, the doctor, the nurse, the psychiatrist. You're everything. And it's hard to be everything to 18 to 20 or to 24 children. I only like to hold a child back if they're very, very immature. And if they are very immature, they're not ready for first grade. But if they're struggling in some academic areas, sometimes I feel it's better for them to go to first grade and have 2 years of a first grade foundation. And a lot of times they'll get more help, like reading help, when they're in first grade than they do in kindergarten. And so mainly I hold back, and everyone's different. But if they're very, very immature, that's when I will hold them back. And if they're just not socially ready to handle what you have to do in first grade. I guess kids have, in kindergarten we don't really deal with zero, and everyone is doing something at the same time. I think as they get in upper elementary, they've got to learn that you've got to turn in your work. I think it's almost like a tough love. If you just say, oh, it's okay, you don't have to do it, what's going to happen through life? You're setting that standard. And you hope that if they get 1-0, they're going to go, whoa. It's going to make them think, and they're not going to do it again. I'm not for, if it's one time and they don't turn it in and it's a 0, I think you say you turn this in and you'll get your grade. But I think you only get like 3 chances, and if you continue not to turn your work in, I think we have to give children responsibility. And I think that's something that sometimes we don't do, and we coddle them. And I know I do it in kindergarten all the time, but I think as they get a little bit older, it's like the tough love. They've got to learn that they've got to take responsibility. But I think teachers deal with it on an individual basis. I know some teachers do. If they don't do their work or don't turn it in, then they do miss their recess and they have to do it. when we went to this action-based learning, we went for a whole day of training back in the winter, and she talked to her, and this is all of her research, she's totally against that you don't take a child's activity time away. They need that to get out that extra energy so that they'll focus when they come back in. I think maybe you need to have something set up with the parents if they'll help you out. You know, these are the missed assignments, and I know a lot of teachers do that at Linkus. You know, these are missed assignments your child didn't turn in. You know, they have until such and such time, or it'll go against them when we're doing our grades. And, you know, some parents are very receptive and will say, we're going to get this done. We had a parent who was well educated that said, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for homework or any of that because we're doing sports. So, you know, I sort of have a mixed feeling about it. I think parents have got to step in and help. I think if they aren't going to help, then you may have to take some of their free time away so that they do it at school. You know, we have a homework club, and college students from Tech come and help kids with their homework 3 days a week, which you know, and they do other things with them. I know some of them help with science fair projects because some of these kids, their parents aren't going to help them, and they are going to have trouble doing it on their own. So I think if you live in an area where you have a university, you really use that as a resource because it's good community service for them, but also it's good for the kids too because they like people that are closer to their age, and I think they are more apt and willing to do things when they talk to them or talk about how important school is, getting an education, getting your work done. So I think that's made a big difference at our school, having all this extra. You know, but we've had some parents say, I don't have time, I can't come pick them up. You know, and there's someone there that's going to help their children. So, again, I think we've got to look at the parents. They've got to, it's not just the school, it's got to be a team effort. We've got to work together. I think it seems like more and more is left up to the classroom teacher. You have more and more put on your plate. They want to do these new programs, but you're in charge. You know, with special ed, you have more responsibilities. I guess I've also seen parents. You have a lot more responsibility in parenting than you did years ago. I'm hoping that's going to come around, and you're going to see more parent involvement. But you know, in the time we're living in, both parents have to work. Mm-hmm. So you aren't seeing as much parent involvement because they are having to work. That's probably the main thing. I see kids that are not as respectful. I see that parents don't demand the respect that they used to demand in 25 years, which really, that bothers me. And kids will say whatever they feel, which they didn't used to years ago. That bothers me too. That's probably the main thing, the lack of respect. So.